Okay, what I'd like to show you now is the head unit for the Commuter Booster. I've been calling this the brain box. So first up, I'll just turn it on. So you can see it says Commuter Booster and the version of the software that's running. So that's the usual startup. And what you can see on the screen now is three things. There's the speed, the distance, and a battery gauge from empty to full. If we hit the throttle now, the bike won't actually start, it'll actually change display screens. So now it's telling us the power and temperature and travel time, average speed, the distance left, what efficiency you're running at and how many watt hours you've used, the volts and amps currently of the battery. Then some more typical stats. So this is the minimum voltage and the max amps, the maximum power and the average power that you've been consuming over the ride, the maximum speed, the average speed, the trip number. As we've got all this data logging, it increments the trip each time you cycle the power and have gone over a certain minimum distance. Battery cycle, how many times the battery's been recharged, which is automatically detected based on a threshold voltage. Then we've got the life kilowatt hours, how many kilowatt hours you've sucked out of the battery while this thing's been running. And the life distance, how far you've gone. And then back to the main screen. The next thing to show is the setup page. So if you hold down the button during startup or hold it down at rest, you'll go into the setup menu here. So then you say no or yes. So yes, we want to. So I was just pressing the button quickly to toggle between those options and a long press to actually select it. So now we're into the different power settings, different settings. The first one's power. So this is how many watts you want to nominally draw. Then there's a second power threshold, like a turbo mode, I guess. So I've set that up as 1000 watts as default. Minimum speeds, that's how fast you should be going before the drive's allowed to engage. So it's currently 6 kilometers an hour, but it can be set up in miles per hour just by using the wheel diameter. Maximum speed, if you want to enforce a maximum speed that the drive can assist to, use it here, but I've set it at 99 because I don't want it to limit me at the moment. Wheel circumference, so if you enter this in millimeters, it will set all the speeds and distance and everything up in kilometers. If we want it in miles per hour, we can adjust this figure and then everything will be set up in miles per hour. I'll explain that in a separate document if you want to set up in miles per hour. T-min is the minimum throttle that the ESC is expecting. So this is 1100 milliseconds and maximum is 2000. These can be tweaked if you need to for your ESC, but that generally works. Ramp down, this is how quickly the drive disengages. So this is in milliseconds, so half a second is what it goes from full throttle to 0 throttle when you release the throttle. So this smooths the disengagement of the drive. It just makes for a neater, more refined disengagement. Now we're into the PID settings. So this is for the power PID loop. So there's 3 parameters, the P, the I and the D. I've set these up so it works quite well for moderate powers, between 300 and 1000 watts. I haven't really tried much outside of those. So it's all set up and runs. So you shouldn't need to tweak these, but you can if you need to. So there's the KP, I and D. I'm not using derivative at the moment. And the same for the speed. I've got a cruise control mode, so this sets the parameters for that. Then we've got the calibration settings for the voltage sensor, which is this one, and the current. These are all factory set, so you shouldn't need to twiddle these, unless your ESC's voltage that it's that it's putting out is significantly different than what I use to calibrate against, because these are all referenced relative to the voltage of your ESC, the 5 volts. Then, because we've got data logging, this is the log rate. I've set up it at 1000 milliseconds, so essentially once every second it'll record what's happening. And battery capacity, this is how many watt hours your battery holds. So this is used for your fuel gauge. So here you set what your battery capacity is, and then the brain box will monitor how many watt hours you're using, and it will use this number to present the percentage used. Charge voltage, so this is the voltage times 10, so 200 is actually 20 volts. So if your battery, when you turn on the unit, is over 20 volts, it'll say you've just recharged your battery and reset those watt hours to 0 as used, and then monitor it from there on. So that's predominantly used for your battery gauge. There's also, once you've done all the settings, an option to reset. So this will reset it to all the factory settings. So if you've been playing around and got all your settings messed up, you can just go across to yes here and hold the button for a long hold, and it'll reset the settings. But I'm happy with them all, so I'll just say no. And then we're out. That's it.